Like that. All right. We've got everybody up. What are we missing here? One more to go. There you are. Let's move you over here. Alright, that should work a lot better, I think. Let's see. Good evening. Just got back yesterday from my Christmas trip, so back in the studio, Eastern Compound. So should be nice and nice to get back to productivity, right? I thought we'd do some warm-ups here. It was, good being out there with family and all of that. See what's going on with everybody out there. Make sure everybody here is still working just fine. Picked up some pencil extenders, which are always handy to have on hand, especially when these pencils can be a little bit fragile. I don't know if everybody's used these Koh-i-Noor solid pencils, but yeah, they have a strong propensity for breakage. Which I guess is one of the benefits of having a wood pencil, wood pencil with a core. It's, I guess has more of a support. On and off the whole time. So I need to plug it in, huh? Standard USB. It's just not working. I did find something I've been looking for a while, which is my iPhone stylus. Is it over here? Not there either. Guess I'll look for it later. So hate it when I don't know where things are. It won't work at all, of course. Up there. Where did I put it? Thought it would have been with the old remote there, but it's not. Oh wait, there it is. I did look in the right place the first time. Just trying to find this adapter thing. Yeah, I was doing some iPhone sketching, and I forgot that I had this stylus that works actually with a bunch of different iPhone applications. It's old, it's like 10 years old now, but I don't know how well they're keeping up with them. It's the old Donut Jot Touch, and I was doing that just because I was on the plane, and I thought, well, it'd be nice just to do it on the phone rather than pulling out a whole big iPad. Which is a funny way to talk about the iPad being, you know, big, but you know, it's but relative to the phone, of course, it is much larger. Not yet. I'm just playing around with the pose here. I should probably use a reference image, but not yet. Just trying to. The only thing I kind of kept up with during the break was a little bit of morning study stuff, which I did on here, not over on the other ones. If I were to check up there, but. And then, a little bit of iPad stuff. Actually, I was playing around with a newer iPad app called Feather. I guess it's been around a couple of years, but hasn't really been updated until recently. I guess the more useful. It's kind of like Grease Pencil, but on your iPad. So the Blender Grease Pencil app. It's similar to that. Playing around with that some over the break. And then I pulled out Mental Canvas also. It actually did kind of a fun little picture in it, but I forgot how this is, pull this down here, this is my iPad. Let me turn off that top light, there we go, that's better. Let's just turn off all the lights, there we go. Everybody can see that. But this is Mental Canvas, and it's actually an app that lets you draw in planes in 3D. So it's kind of a really interesting one. I was playing around with this one again over the weekend, or the last couple weeks. Did this mostly on Christmas Day. But I forgot how limited a lot of the tools are. So it's got some brushes, and it's expensive. It's like $30 or something for a artist license. Let me. There we go. That's what. So anyway, when you kind of switch into draw mode, it kind of automatically jumps to the different canvases, so it kind of puts them in the center view, and based on how they're angled to you. It's a nice one to use, and you can hide different layers and put layers within layers. But like, it's a brush system. This is all of your brushes, and you can't edit them beyond their size. If you want to adjust their opacity, you have to do that in the color area. And if you want to access the color palette, you have to come over here to get access to it. And then the eraser is only one size, so you can't change the size of the eraser. So it's got some limitations that I don't, that kind of get in the way. This is a selection tool. I haven't messed with the selection tools in here just yet. So I'm not sure exactly what you can do with them. So that's, I guess, can select what's everything that's on that layer. Add and minus your selections, loop, and then there's a, whatever this one does. So yeah, I guess it just selects different areas like that. So it's pretty limited in terms of its drawing ability for this app. You can like take snapshots from different positions and then kind of zoom into them. So you do these infinite drawings where you can kind of keep zooming in. So I could zoom into here and then put another little drawing in there and so on. Yeah, I just forgot how limiting like all of the areas are, and they haven't updated it really in 2 years. So their social media is pretty active, but they really haven't done much in terms of updating like its capabilities and its functions. But I pulled this out and did this drawing in here, mostly on Christmas Day, a little bit of touch up here and there. So I'm sitting there watching the nieces and relatives and family members kind of do their thing. I was playing around with this, so it's pretty interesting one. And then the other one that I picked up was Feather, and again this is the one that's more like let's see, pull back to a fresh one. But it's kind of like working in grease pencil, and there's some different things you can do that are really basic in terms of making a primitive. So you can make like a stroke and then you can bend it around things, or you can, like in this case, I built this for making a stroke and bending it, but you can also combine circles and things together to make new ones. But basically you can draw on the surface, and it's a 3D stroke. So you can design different things with it, and it works okay. It's fine. I always kind of run into problems with these kinds of applications where it just feels like there's something missing to make it really useful. Has different lighting and things in here as well, but I think it's fine on a pinch, but at the same time I'd almost rather do this all in Blender, just because it's got some limitations on here. It's got some fun little things, like you can do some pixelating effects on here, which I'm not showing. I have to figure if I turn on the rendering. Is that it? Nope. It's been a while since I don't remember exactly how to turn some of this on, but it has some interesting kind of rendering effects you can play around with here. You've got some different primitives you can sketch into the scene. Maybe it's under selection. No, it's not there. Wait, there we go. Maybe turn on. There we go. That's right. So you can kind of turn on some rendering effects. Right now it's got really low. What's it called? The focus on it. You can play with the lighting a little bit. There's the grain. And you can pixelate it if you want. It's called Feather 3D or something like that. And again, it too just has kind of like a limited brushes over here. So these are all of your brushes over here, and you can't really do much with them beyond what's So I turn that on, and I can draw on the surface. But what you do with this one is basically, so if I've got the surface I'm working with and I save, you can save them, but if I wanted to do like a new one, so I can come over here, put in orthographic view. If I wanted to draw something at the base, it's creating this surface right here. And then I can draw on that surface there. I'll say it's snapping out of that. I don't say to get rid of it. Undo is kind of funny too, because you have to go over there to physically hit it. I think that lets me, no, there you go. So now I don't draw on that other surface. And you can come in here and fill things in. You've got some, like a roller brush. There are some like gestures and things I wish it did. It's just drawing on that surface, and it kind of stops it on that surface. And then what I can do is, this one you can, which is nice, you can kind of go through and select different surfaces like that. So I can select what I've drawn here on the ground, and I don't want to select you, I just want to have you guys selected over here. Wrong button. Don't want that selected. I can come here and change the color on it on the fly, which is kind of nice. So this one wasn't very expensive. It was like $15 or something. So it's definitely worth playing with, but it's very similar to Grease Pencil. And I think if I go back over here, turn the lighting on, should be a way to, I can't remember exactly, let's see. Ground shine is on. Lights on, pick the color. I haven't gotten in through all the other details of it, but it's kind of interesting, you know, what you can do with this feather app. So those are the kind of things I was messing with over the break. But again, I just kind of have, you know, a lot of times I have mixed feelings about these because it just feels like there's just that little bit extra that's not quite there. This one's been out for a couple years, but they had a big update recently, which has attracted some attention to it. But you can like mirror things and duplicate things. So if I wanted to come in here and say, you know, grab this, I can duplicate it, and you know, I can move it up and down in space. That's all the stuff I just selected. So I can grab that and move that up there as a duplicate. So it's definitely got, you know, uses, but again, there's just, it always just feels like there's certain limitations. I guess you can take the geometry out of here into other applications, which I haven't looked at yet. So I could take it over to Nomad Sculpt and do a better render in it, put different materials on the different areas, and that could be really interesting as well. But yeah, so that's what I was kind of messing around with during the break, because I just have a hard time, you know, sitting still. Everyone else is, you know, sitting still, and I'm kind of actively trying out new things. So, but I definitely like that that feather app. I think it's got a lot of interesting potential. I was just a little annoyed with the canvas one, just with the mental canvas one, because A, it's really expensive, and B, they haven't really done much with it in the last couple of years. I was checking to see what's going on, and really they've just updated the software, you know, just so it keeps working, you know, with the more current versions of the operating system, which is unfortunate because it'd be a really fun one to recommend to a lot of people. But as it is, I don't think I can just yet. But the feather one, yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. You know, it's not very expensive, and it has like some of the similar kind of spatial animation that you've got in the other one, where you can kind of set up snapshots and it'll animate between them. Looks like I have a feeling they're kind of based on the same tech to a certain degree, maybe similar programmers or something, just because certain things about each other kind of seem familiar. Yeah, I just thought I'd come on and do some sketchbookery today. Get warmed back up into the schedule as we get ready to go into the new year. Got my dog back. Hadn't seen him in 10 days. Dropped him off with my sister and left him behind, the poor guy. But let's see. I don't see this stuff working over here. Just a second, because that should have popped up in there as a chat option. It's not there though. Where is it? Let's see. Copy. Should be working now. That's interesting. So have to keep our eye at it. Maybe I just have to use the other area. Let's just try this one just to see what happens. But yeah, so that's the story there with Feather and Mental Canvas. Things I've been experimenting with. He has a lab beagle, so he's about 30 pounds, which I guess is around 13 or 14 kilograms, I think. Black, so he's gotten a lot of white on him. He's 8 years old, so he's not exactly a puppy anymore. Well, that's working now. But he was hanging out. My sister, she has a big dog. She has a part retriever, part golden retriever, part Great Dane. So he's a big boy. And they were napping together while I was gone, so that's fun. They've always been kind of friends, but he's and he's really big for Bosch. He's like I think his chest is bigger than my dog. So, so definitely, very different from each other, but they get along. My dog would like to play, tug of war and things with him, but he's just too big. Every time they try, it's always my dog's just always like, "You're too big." And he plays rough, so he doesn't understand. He's got to play a little softer with a smaller dog. Hasn't worked that out. Haven't worked out that negotiation yet. They definitely try, but doesn't always work as well. Did manage a little plein air painting, so I went up to heard of the Sundance Film Festival. They have that's up near where my parents live, and near where I went to school. And I went up to a trailhead that's above that to do a little plein air painting. That was the only time I got out during the break, and did spend the first 3 days being really sick, which was not part of the plan. So that was not optimal, but I don't know if there was something going around or whatever, but yeah, I was sick for like 3 days, got a fever, and wasn't any ever cough or any congestion, just a headache and a small fever. So don't recommend that, but anybody else do anything interesting during the break? That must be the issue, I think. Right now it's showing up over there. Interesting. No, it's because it showed up over there. But yeah, it's something interesting to play with that app though. That feather one a little bit more. Seems like there's a bunch you can do with it, even if I'm not that proficient with it just yet. Yeah, but I don't get the lack of updates to that Mental Canvas app and its price. I know part of what they're charging for, because there's different levels you can get it with. There's like the Creator Edition, which is the lower priced one. But basically, what you're getting is, in the addition to the app, they let you kind of publish the image on their server, so that way other people can actually manipulate it, like explore it, similar to how you would within the app. And that's part of kind of what you're paying for with the Mental Canvas app. No, it's just sketching. I wouldn't call it anime because I don't animate. I wouldn't call it manga either because I don't Just some character sketching thoughts here. But yeah, definitely playing up the proportions here. Um, Definitely want to avoid the Instagram artist thing where it's like the lights are on but nobody's home kind of illustrations. Um, uh, sure, everybody knows those, sees those all the time. If that controller's got enough power to be useful. Yeah, there's not much there. I mean, it's just pretty rough. Lift that up so you get a little less parallax. Oh, no, higher. There we go. Everybody know what parallax is? That's where you kind of zoom in on something from an angle. It gives you kind of an incorrect read of that angle. Wrong with this 0.5 lead, it's very, very fragile. Fragile. Yeah, we'll see, right? It's just part of that larger project I've been trying to develop for a while. I think the next phase is kind of solidifying who the characters are. And making some decisions about that. So I'm going to go through most of this lead just by breaking it. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to. I actually had a student do some stuff based off of I think ancient Persian myths recently and artifacts in my among one of my students. So he got some really interesting results out of that. I showed them, but that's up to him to put out there. But definitely spent a lot of time kind of researching and detailing everything up. So, careful there. Yeah, it's the Iran and Iraq. That's the the cradle of Western civilization, right? Before going over to Egypt, then up to Greece and Rome. At least as far as I understand. So. Let's see if this is working yet. Oh, no, there it goes. That's working. That's good. It's because of where my computer stuff is relative to my desk. I got a little kind of pointer remote for computers. It's like a mouse. But has anybody got any exciting plans for the new year? Good afternoon. afternoon. Yeah, so I thought I'd just sit down and kind of fill up a page with some thoughts. I'm working on finishing up the sketchbook. I've just got a few pages left, so that's always exciting. I ordered another one. It's going to be the heavier duty ones that I've been using for other things lately. So, yeah, always excited to start a new sketchbook. And the other sketchbooks that I want to use, the paper's a lot tougher, so I can do kind of more multimedia stuff in it, which I'd rather do anyway. So, looking forward to that. So put some more watercolor stuff in there, or gouache, or whatever I feel like putting in there. Maybe some oils. Good afternoon, everybody popping in. How are we doing? Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, everybody. It did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nintendo's kind of come up with something that's terrifying. Uh, ultimately. Good afternoon, everybody. I gotta recover from the last week and a half of bad eating too. Too many cookies. I feel like that's my fault. Good afternoon. Appreciate that. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody popping in. Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, everybody popping in. We're having a good weekend. We might have some rain coming in soon, I think. Good afternoon, everybody popping in. Hope you're having a good weekend. That's what I'm kind of thinking of for the lineup of the characters. Might even make her smaller than that. Hmm. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out some markers. Actually, I found. Where did I put those at? So I found these. I forgot I had these Identapens. Maybe I'll use these a little bit. I'll start with this one. Hmm. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Everybody having a good afternoon out there? So I think this button takes me back. Never mind. Just getting good at using this little remote thing I picked up for myself. Let's see. I'm not finished watching that. There we go. Let's see. Did not. There we go. Good afternoon. Everybody have a good break? Yeah, it's good visiting family, but I'm glad to be back in the studio. This is point one. I've got a chisel brush out here. I've got this Identi-Pen, which I haven't used in a long time. I forgot I had them, and I was looking for something else, and found it under the couch. It's like, oh, I've got a couple of these. Forgot about them. It's funny, I watch a lot of you see what other people are doing, so I'll look at, oh, this person recommends this thing, so I'll pick that up, and then I forget I have it for a long time. It's like I was sketching on my iPhone during the flights, and yeah, under the couch, right, with all the dust. But I was actually looking for this right here. So this is a charger for the first really pressure sensitive stylus for the iPad. Works on the phone too, because I was doing some finger painting on my flights on my phone, so I was remembering, oh, this thing works with the apps I use. I bought this like 10 years ago, so I found this really easily, but it took me forever to find this, which is its charger. It's magnetic, so it kind of snaps on. But it's done a Jot Touch. I don't think they sell it anymore. So I was messing around with that on the phone a little bit today once I found the charger for it. So yeah, I pulled it out. It works pretty good, on the phone. I don't know that I was talking to the app maker for Infinite Painter, and he hasn't put as much emphasis on the phone app, obviously, because it gets a lot less use, I'm sure. So I was asking if you could rotate the canvas, and the menu would rotate with it, and it doesn't do that. So it only works really vertically. I mean, you can work it sideways. It's just feels weird to do that when the interface doesn't rotate with it. I'm not sure if Procreate does either. I didn't check that, but so yeah, I pulled that out to see if it worked. Worked with actually, I noticed a few brushes it doesn't work with, like the fill brushes where you can draw a shape and it fills it in. And I like those a lot, but for some reason it doesn't work at all with the stylus. And you have to turn the stylus off in order for it to work with your finger. But I don't know how much finger painting on my phone I'll actually do. So But it was a lot of fun just to do that on the planes. I had a whole row to myself on the flight out, so that was nice and cozy. Yeah, it's a Procreate Pocket. Infinite Painter has one too, but I think you get it when you just buy the app. The Pocket is a separate thing, I think, from Procreate. I think the brush engine works the same, so you can import all of your brushes from Procreate into it. That's called Procreate Pocket. And then I spent a ton of time messing around with Mental Canvas. So, if there's different people in here from the beginning, I can pull that up. Yeah, so there's that. Infinite Painter also works on Android, so if you have an Android tablet, it'll work on that. I think it'll work on the Google computers, Chromebooks or whatever they're called. But yeah, I mean, I've used Procreate Pocket before. I haven't used it in a while. Again, there's some features in Infinite Painter that I like. Yeah, iPad Pro is definitely the best one to get. So, but yeah, I was using Mental Canvas over the break, mostly on Christmas Day actually, and it's I have I used like the original iPad before it had the pencil, which is what I had to get this for that. So it was the only company that really made a really good stylus that had a pointed tip. All the rest of them had like little disc on the tip, which that's actually fine. Disc wasn't bad because it kind of gave you some texture. And I think the newer iPad Pro has like a smaller bevel. That may be why. But like this was the let me turn the lights off here. There we go. But I was messing around with this app here a lot, which is Mental Canvas, and you can kind of draw on different planes in 3D. So if I have like this layer, which is this little tower back here selected, I switch to draw mode, it kind of switches it back into whatever flat view of it. So if I want to switch this foreground, it's a little bit of a different angle from that, or the deep background, and it kind of moves it into its flat view. So it's an interesting app, and then you can take snapshots of different views. So I could go through here and I could say, take this view, come over here, and add a snapshot down here. And then I could come over here, add another snapshot like that, and then you can kind of play between them. So you kind of create I think Bobby Chu has done one where you kind of zoom into and do what's called infinite story. So you can kind of, I could draw this, and then I could zoom in to that, draw something in here, zoom past that, have something over here, and you kind of zoom in using the snapshots. So it's kind of really cool that you can do that. I do have complaints though. So one, if you switch over to say the eraser only has one size, and that's it. So you can't like make the eraser bigger or smaller or different kinds. It's just one kind of eraser, and it's one size. You can't do any layer effects, so I can't come in here and do like a multiply layer or select a layer and colorize it. You can't do any of that. And then the brushes, this is all you get for brushes. So you can change the brush size, and you can pick between these brushes. And then if you want any opacity, you have to do that in the color area. So if you go over to the color palette, it comes with these swatches, and you can change the opacity over here. You'd think it would just kind of be out in the open, but you have to go into here to get to it. And if you want a specific color, then you have to go into custom to get access to this thing. Otherwise, you have to stick with their swatches. They do have some selection tools, which I haven't really used just yet. I'm curious to see how they kind of work. Gives you a transparent mode to work with. And then you can have kind of layers within layers. So each kind of what it does is it creates a plane. So if I wanted to come in here and say grab this layer, and I wanted to adjust it, I can come in here and it creates this little scene over. Creates this little scene over on the side, and this allows me, if I can use this to kind of push the layer forward or backward in space. So you can kind of see it going up and down over here. You can change that view so you can kind of see what's going on with it. And then if you want to change its angle, it has a little hinge option, but it doesn't change its angle in the plane changes, but the view does not, which is interesting. So it has like kind of these weird quirky things that it does. And it's also expensive. So it's $30, which is kind of a lot for something that has these limitations. Again, this thing is cool where you can like do different views or, kind of just get that parallax feeling going on. It's called Mental Canvas. It's $30, and what you're really paying for is the server space. So you can export, I think, 3 of them at the $30 edition, and it kind of creates like a nested image on their servers, and then you can put this on your own website or wherever you want to post it, and that way people can actually move it around like this. They can't edit it, but they can kind of move it around. But you can also just export out a video, so you can do the playthrough, export that out, and then you have that kind of as a video that you can play through if you want to make a story or something out of it. Good. Bobby Chu has done a bunch of these. Hello over there on, I guess it's Kick. Actually, I should put that up in the front, huh? Not seeing over there. But, so it has all these like weird limitations. And so like if I wanted to go through and like cut, like I put the lines on a separate layer on the front, so I can open up this and I can like hide the lines, the finished lines I put on there, or the intermediate lines. And there's just the background color. And you can move them up and down in terms of their visibility. Like this is my rough sketch that I did initially. You can kind of see in there, ghosted in. You can change their opacity, but I can't like select that layer or lock its pixels and then recolorize things, which is also just kind of an annoying. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. What this is called Mental Canvas. I guess there's a PC version of it too, or at least a web-based version that you can draw on. But it's called Mental Canvas. Again, like I was just saying, like there's a lot of things I like about it. Like it's an interesting tool, but it has a lot of limitations. Like I was saying, like so if I go to the brush mode here, it kind of automatically brings it into view, and then I can come over here to the brushes, and these are all of the brushes that I get access to in here. And only thing you can change is their size, so I can bring the size up and down. The eraser, you can't change the size at all. If I want to change the opacity, I have to do it over here in the color swatch area for some reason. And then if you want the actual like color palette thing right here, you have to come over a couple of spots. So it's got weird limitations, but again, it's kind of fun where you can go through and you can kind of grab different snapshots of it. So I could come up here, add a snapshot, and if I want to play through, you can do that. I think you can adjust the timing of it as well. So it's kind of interesting, but I think it's kind of expensive for what you get. Sort of. You can move the camera. You can't animate the actual objects. So you're just animating your view of things. Have someone over on the other chats asking about it, but so it's kind of interesting. But again, it's kind of expensive for what you get. It's $30 in the App Store. There might be an Android version of it, I'm not sure, but you kind of sign into it. But if you want like a more professional version, so if I open up. Let's see, I think where is it in here? I have the Mental Canvas Creator Plan, which is the cheaper one. No, wait, it's not $60. What it is here's the full upgrade. So if you want the full version of it, like the 5 public interactive scenes, you get a training session, priority support, no video watermark, it's $60 a month. Or $600 a year. Which is just kind of insane for what you're getting. Like you don't really get much more with the professional, the quote unquote professional version, which is it's kind of a lot. for this, and because that's that $60 a month, that's a full Adobe subscription. If you wanted to get Adobe and get all of their applications, that's it's pricey. But I hadn't used it in a long time. In fact, the one I did a detailed drawing of a long time ago, I accidentally deleted it. I didn't save it properly or something. So make sure I save that before I forget. But I spent Christmas Day doing this little sketch here. So, but you kind of back it, you can kind of see the full aspect of what's going on. I think part of the limitations is you are actually drawing with vectors. You can import images from other applications, so you could build a bunch of stuff, import it here, and then do the animations in it. But that just seems like a lot of work when it's easier to do that, say, I would guess in After Effects it's easier to do that. It's easier to do that in Blender, obviously, than to kind of come over here to do that. So, I kind of like it, but I have my complaints. The other thing I was playing around with is this Feather app, and this is actually like Grease Pencil. It's simplified Grease Pencil, and it does some of the similar things. You can take like snapshot scenes and then kind of animate the snapshots, but you can kind of do some more interesting things in terms of design in here. Like you can make a bunch of so if I made a bunch of circles, you can kind of link drawing pieces together. So if I were to come out to here and then kind of get off of the that, or maybe go back to that, select that, and then go here and then get rid of that base. What you can kind of do is I can grab let's see if I just grab a couple of these random things. Oop, not you. I'm gonna select. Let's see, let's grab my pen. Maybe it wants my pen. I don't want you though. Oh, let's see, let's kill those selections. I want to grab this. Not you. Just go ahead and grab this and this. So you can kind of draw your own, and then you can kind of group them up by bridging them. And so I carried like a new surface just from that selection that I can then go ahead and draw on after that. So grab that, and then I can start to select. That's right, you select these. They kind of group up together. And then you say, okay, done. You've got yourself a new surface. That's right here. Now I can draw on that surface. Probably should use a smaller brush though. And grab a different color so we can see it. But this is just a little trial thing right here, so I can draw on top of that surface there that I've made from the drawing I've already done. And so that's kind of interesting. And this one's called Feather. Oh, thank you for the background. But yeah, so I haven't done much with this, just playing around with it. And then the more you kind of have open, you can draw across multiple things. So you can, I think this one's actually a bit more useful for concepting things out than the mental canvas one, which is right there. But those are some things that I was kind of playing around with during my trip home. So yeah, but that was something I was playing around with over the break, and it's kind of interesting. But what we got going over here. Ah, that's the D Live side, huh? Probably gonna pop off in about 20 minutes so I can get the dog out for his WALK. Nobody say that out loud. So that was fun. I want to kind of get back to this Bramble project, work on these characters. This is kind of more or less the silhouettes I'm looking for. They've got the bureaucrat guy here, got the guide, so we got the bureaucrat, got the guide, and the child. I should probably give them names at some point. For the project I want to do, and good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody popping in. I'll be on for about 20 more minutes, and then I'll take my get my dog out for his WALK, and then have a little dinner, and then maybe I'll be back. We'll see. I'll be back on first thing in the morning. Get back to my little morning studies. Mm-hmm. Sound like my dog's snoring all of a sudden. Oop, sorry about that, Bosch. Threw my pencil down at him. Good evening. How are we doing? All right, about 10 more minutes. Good evening. Or afternoon, whatever it is, wherever everybody's at. Good night, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I spent probably an hour and a half looking for this today. It's for this. It's the original iPad stylus I bought before there was a pencil. Donut Jot Touch. Came out like 10 years ago, I think, something like that. And wanted to use it on my phone because it's a Bluetooth stylus, so it doesn't require. It transfers the pressure sensitivity through Bluetooth instead of directly in contact. And so I was doing some iPhone sketching while I was on, visiting my family out west, and I was V is just the German accent, right? But so I was sketching on my phone with my finger, and I thought it should be nice if I knew where my stylus was, and so when I got in last night. I was looking for it this morning, and it took me a while, but I did find my pencil, but it wasn't my, or the stylus here, but I couldn't find the charger, which, doesn't really work unless it's charged. So, but I found it. So I just kind of going back, now that I'm back, going over my list of things I want to get done for the portfolio. Really the character stuff is the next big thing. Got some 3D things I want to do with creatures and other things, but I think the big thing is really kind of figuring out these three. This is kind of more or less what I want to do with them. So he's going to be kind of big and thick and square. She's definitely going to be more triangular. This one will be kind of somewhere in between. So, oh yeah, you don't want to lose things, right? It's like this book right here. I've scanned in most of it, so I don't lose anything. I actually posted a bunch of it on my website, the Rainland Studios website. So that's kind of the next big thing to get done is figuring this thing out. So yeah, well, there's always that. I read a story about Dermot Powers. He's a comic. He used to do comics, but he's a concept artist. He's been doing it since Star Wars prequels. He's been around a long time. But he, before there was internet stuff, he was busy doing comics. He just got out of school, and he was looking for work, and so he was taking a physical portfolio around. All of his real work in a portfolio. Just paintings and illustrations and drawings and things, and he was interviewing with different companies and trying to find illustration work, and he was taking a bus to go to those different places, and he had this great portfolio. He was shopping around trying to get work. Anyway, he left his portfolio on the bus, and it was just gone permanently. There was no getting it back, and this was all of his work that he'd done that he wanted to show. And that's just like a nightmare situation. But he said it was the best thing that ever happened to him, because he sat down and had to rebuild his entire portfolio. And so in the process of doing that, he learned a lot and came up with a much better portfolio that led him into, his a lot of success that he had. Um, but yeah, it wasn't even like a sketchbook. It was like finished hard, work he'd spent so much time on. Oh yeah, you've lost your portfolio. I found actually some old stuff of mine. I was at my parents', and these were in my sister's stuff. So these are some old business cards that I had made. That phone number is no longer any good, so you can't call that. But like this was a painting I did of some gates in Moscow from a photograph I took. Let's see if I can put that in the camera up there. So yeah, this is an old business card. And then this was a piece I'd done. It was actually a redone piece. So this is gouache. It was about email, because email was still relatively new. So I was doing a piece about the death of regular mail, because people were concerned about. I think the post office in the United States was talking about trying to charge people per email. Because they recognized they were going to lose a lot of money. But these were kind of pieces I'd put together as promotional things. So these go back to like 2004. And this was a digital piece I'd done kind of for a different market. So I was creating different portfolio pieces for different markets. And then this was the drawing I put on the back there. I did way back then. This is like 2003, 2004-ish. So a long time ago. This was pencil right here. I still got this somewhere in a portfolio, I think. And then this was Corel Painter, so this is digital. But I found these, so it was kind of fun finding these old pieces. This is oil paint right here. That's kind of where I was at when I was graduating. Oh, here's a little mini card version of the other one. So it's the same as this right here. It's a mini robot and big robot. This thing actually, as simple as it is, I went through a lot of iterations because I'd started doing a version of it and it was just terrible, like in terms of its design, how it looked, and one of my teachers helped me out with it. So someone's asking over on YouTube, how long have I been drawing? You mean today? A couple hours? 3 hours? Something like that? But I've been doing art since I was a small child. So it's been a very, very, very long time. And I'm 46 now, so if that gives you any picture. So I graduated from college, 20 some odd years ago. Well, 20 years ago, I guess, 2004. So a little over 20 years ago. And I've since done grad school, and I've been teaching for a long time, and all of that. So I've been at it for a while, and I often get that question: how long have you been drawing? Well, high school, and middle school, and I started taking it more seriously in middle school. But I was always drawing in classes and making up stuff and all that. So I should probably be a lot better than I am. Maybe it's probably the real answer. But yeah, just been working on this sketchbook page here, and then showing some of the things I've been doing during the break. But I'm gonna go ahead and pause here for probably an hour or two. Take the dog out for his WALK. He's excited to be back on his schedule because I was gone, and but he's excited to be back on his normal schedule. It's very quieter. He was staying with my sister, and she has 4 daughters and a big dog and a husband, and so it was a lot of noise for I think it was gone 10 days, I think, visiting family, and so I was away from him, hanging out with my sister and her dog and my mom's dog and my nieces, and all that was good. But I'll be back in a while, probably an hour or two, and do some more warm-ups. So thanks again for coming in. Talk to everybody later.